Hello YouTube, my name's Advanced, this is Dota 2 and this is an introduction to a long lane Treeant Protector. Now this is different to how some people play. I'm going to put this on player's perspective by the way, so that you can see my mouse clicks and stuff, you can see what I'm doing. But this is different to how most people play Treeant Protector currently, which is as a support hero. The reason I'm playing him as a long lane hero is I feel more comfortable trying the hero on the long lane, because at this point I was still fairly new to the hero, hadn't played a properly successful game on him where I really felt like I'd played successfully. But first thing I'm going to do here, now this is something really essential if you're playing on the long lane, is to ward. That ward right there, you can see it on the map. I'll move my other cursor over to it. Will block this camp and this camp from spawning for the duration that it is up for. So for the next 6 minutes, that's a shot bug they're talking about. For the next 6 minutes, neither that camp nor that camp will spawn. Now the reason this is important on a long lane hero is because as a long lane solo you will be subject to the abuse of the pull camp. Now when supports use the pull camp, which in this lane I would predict would probably be the Skeleton King and the Lion against me. So the Skeleton King can very easily stay in the lane absolutely on his own versus me. I might later on eventually start killing him, but it's going to be extremely slow. I don't have very much killing potential without them maybe diving me on a tower or something, or me having a level advantage, which isn't going to happen if I'm solo versus the Skeleton King. That will mean that the Lion could spend his entire time pulling or ganking me from behind these trees here. He can move in from this area here and gank me if I'm ever stood around here. As well as that, the lane will always be pulled back towards their tower, which will mean I have to stand there to get experience. So warding a pull camp is the way that in higher and mid tier long lane heroes and such deal with supports who want to pull. So I think it's really important. My starting item build, I started with an Observer Ward, Stout Shield, a set of Tangos and a Healing Salve. This might not be enough regen, this is a fairly small amount of regen. In some cases I might even say I need pooling from another support hero, I need another set of Tangos given to me by another player. And I'm just telling the Meepo in this case. We have a Meepo on our team. But in this case I'm just telling the Meepo to go to the top lane. So next thing I do is blocking. Again, blocking will pull the lane back to your area so that I have an easier time last hitting. And now, unless the Skeleton King has an absolutely perfect last hitting and denying, I will get the maximum possible experience from this lane. Because the lane will at some point push towards my tower. And when it pushes towards my tower and they can't counter push it in any way, I can very easily get out of there. Now that there's only the solo Lion here, I guess the Skeleton King was just slow going to lane or something. I kinda knew that he was going to be coming there. I also put down a second ward just to give myself extra vision. You can see on the map screen there, I put my second ward down there. It gives myself extra vision, means that I feel completely safe in this lane. Unless they both hit stuns, do a lot of damage with right clicks and such, they're simply not going to kill me. And another thing you'll notice I haven't done is I haven't actually skilled up anything yet. I'm just pretty much just holding on to my skill points for the moment. I'm gonna go though with, because I can see that they're not trying to de-ward, I'm not gonna need Nature's Guise in the lane. So I've gone for Leech Seed and Living Armor. I'll go over the skills that Treeant Protector has, but Treant's a great hero for keeping your allies alive and sustaining through the fight. As well as that, he's extremely survivable. As a strength hero, he's already very survivable, but he has not very good agility game, but pretty damn good agility game for a strength hero, and very good strength game, which means that towards the late or mid game sections of the game, you're going to have absolutely huge stats. And this is me missing last hits under the tower, which you should not do, because another thing that Treeant Protector has in his favour in the long lane, which makes it very easy to last hit under towers, is enormous base damage of 91. His base damage essentially means that he can in fact be played as a carrier. I'm not personally a fan of the roles though. Well, I mean, I am a fan of the role. I want to try and do a good Treeant Protector carry game that I can put out there, because I think it's an interesting way to play the hero. But again, you're going to see just the strength that Treeant Protector has then. I can literally sit on the lane, and in fact I can even go slightly aggressive in the line. My Leech Seed heals me up. Now let me go over your skills in fact quickly before this next thing happens, but in fact I'm going to just... I can't remember. This might be it. Maybe it's not it. But Nature's Guise essentially is a castable ability that you can cast on your allies, you can cast on yourself, which means that whilst you're near trees, you gain 10% movement speed as well as stay invisible, which is pretty useful, to be honest. And this is a real big mistake from the Skeleton King there for trying to stay on me. I'm going to run through, eat a tango on my way through there. I'm really kind of worried about this lane at the moment, thinking, this lane's getting harder and harder. So item that I'm going to absolutely need is Arcane Boots so that I can use my heals and stuff to keep myself alive. But I'm very, very worried about this. So Nature's Guise is really, really useful on the long lane. Sometimes if you haven't bought wards, to keep yourself alive like that by basically hiding invisible. Obviously it means if they get sentries or anything, just like if you placed a ward, they can very easily counter you and kill you pretty damn fast, especially because you're likely to be out of position, and go for a deny there. I'm just trying to get as much XP as I can from this lane, and you can see just how well my laning stage has gone now, because I managed to get level 5 in 4 minutes. I'm essentially operating in the same sort of capacity as the solo hero in the middle lane. In fact, if I pull it up, you'll see that my level 5 is higher than the Luna in the mid. The only one who's equaling me is their mid solo, which is a sniper, which I don't particularly rate, so it's okay. Now next skill that you have is Leech Seed, which is a nuke and slow that does damage over time of pulses basically. Each of these will heal friendly units in the area. They come out from the... You'll see the effect on it next time I use Leech Seed. But essentially each of these pulses do 30 damage, scaling up to 75 damage. 4 of them come up, so 115, 300, it maxes out as a 300 damage nuke, so it's a definitely respectable nuke. It's always a static movement slow of 24%, and it has a duration of 3 seconds. So pretty good overall spell, is quite mana expensive. The cooldown does end up pretty low at only 10 seconds. So Leech is a really, really great spell for chasing, for keeping yourself alive sometimes in the long lane, in situations in which you're dived, which you shouldn't be doing on a Treeant Protector. This is, look how low my health gets here. I'm getting really, really beat on. The Skeleton King makes a slight mistake. It gives me enough time to put my third skill on, Living Armor, myself, Leech Seed him. I'm going to hit him, kill the Skeleton King because he hasn't hit his ultimate, and the Lion goes down, is killed by the Dire. I didn't even hit the Lion. He simply goes down to tower. He should have de-aggroed that by A-clicking his own creeps. That's something you should do. And this has meant that I've now won my lane completely. This is an absolutely dominating game for me, by the way. This is just showing the effect that a Treeant Protector can have, because it's very, very easy to underestimate the hero. Until pretty much this game, I was still pretty convinced that Treeant Protector was almost worthless. I saw a few professional games in which he was being used, and I thought, nah, still not convinced. This game changed my mind absolutely, and from that fight there, I'm able to basically sit in the secret shop until I get the money for mana boots, finish off mana boots. I've picked up my ultimate here as well. I'm now level 6 and I can actually fight this guy. Look at this. He just does no damage to me. Just taking no damage at all. Treeant Protector is just really, really survivable once you've got maybe just some Arcane Boots on. In the laning stage, 6-minute Arcane Boots on Treeant Protector on the offlane is absolutely great. I basically picked up a double kill. I didn't actually get 2 kills, but I got the experience for 2 kills and 1 kill's worth. Next item I'm going to be going for is a wand and then some drums, just for more movement speed, some aura stacking, all that good stuff. Now, next skill that I want to talk about is Living Armor. Living Armor essentially gives you what is basically a giant stout shield for 7 damage instances. It blocks from 20 to 80 damage and is a global skill that you can use on buildings. You can use it on anything. And I was checking top just for that gank and stuff, and you can see I now use the living armor on the Meepo, and he takes very, very little damage from that nuke from the Skeleton King there. Some of it's slightly wasted because Skeleton King's nuke is actually damage over time, but they're simply it's very, very useful for keeping people alive. It's very useful for keeping yourself alive. Now, it also gives you a health regen of up to 13 for 15 seconds, which means you can heal a pretty damn big amount. You can heal around 150, 200 health. I don't know the math exactly. I can't be bothered to do it. If you're a maths whiz, go and do the math. Why not? Able to get easy last hits as well, because my base damage is huge. Without any base damaged items right now, I have base damage of 110. I have a stout shield and arcane boots. Neither of these are useful for base damage. This is why some people like to play a carry Treeant Protector or even a support Treeant Protector, because you just don't need any items. And a carry Treeant Protector, you're only amplifying the danger that he is. So a really important thing in this game is to keep complete map awareness. One thing you can't see because of my mouse clicking and stuff is that I'm constantly watching my map. Whenever I see that people are being ganked, for instance this situation, I'm going to be looking there, I'm going to be looking at mid, I'm going to be looking all over. I can see he's safe at the moment. If I see these two heroes go onto mid's hall, I'm going to use living armor on whoever's being ganked. In this situation it would be a Windrunner or a Meepo. You can see that because of their color coordinates above. The same for the mid lane though, probably not for the jungle or Nature's Prophet. There's not really much point. Now, skill build wise, I would have got Nature's guys early if I thought it was worth it. You can see in this game I just didn't need it. Because I've warded off their pull camp, it's only just spawned 2 to 3 minutes ago now, and they're really struggling to control me on this lane. Now pick up a bracer at this point. I should have picked up a TP scroll from that side shop there, but I'm not completely worrying about it. And you can see as soon as I see this fighting going on at the top lane, I'm just looking over to see who's in the most danger. I can see the Windrunner is in the most immediate danger right now. I'm just going to give her that little bit extra health. She probably wasn't going to die in that situation, but it might have made the difference sometimes depending on what's happening. And whenever somebody's getting a little bit low like that, or is being focused down by the enemy team, you probably should use it on them. It's really beneficial too. And pretty much every situation I can at the moment in this lane, I'm just trying to soak up as much XP as I can, use my arcane boots as often as possible so that I have as much leech seed to spam out to push the iron off the wave or anyone else who comes to try and contest me. Now I'm at a point now where I'm practically free farming this lane, which is absolutely huge for a Treeant Protector. You should not let this hero get farm. On the long lane, the idea is to not get farm. The long lane is often called the suicide lane, or the hard lane is what people call it. You should not be allowing people to get any farm whatsoever, and their levels should be the lowest on the map. That they dived on me so early and that they didn't de-ward is a huge deal for me, and it's pretty much won my lane. And I think I probably should have picked up that. Yeah, I do pick up this. The reason I should pick up this is because I think it's the same haste rune from the very beginning, and it's going to mean that I can go for a crazy diving kill on this sniper mid. Sniper's a really vulnerable hero. He absolutely needs a Shadow Blade or something. You can see I've used all my skills. I'm healed myself pretty much so that I can tank the tower for this Luna here, and I'm just giving her the kill. She's the carry, she should take the kill. Even in a position like this where I feel like I'm making a big effect on this game already. I got basically a double kill in my lane. I did a lot of damage to people, and mistake from me, I did not check for the Meepo there. Just because I've just been leaving a gank does not mean that you shouldn't have map awareness and you shouldn't be able to see everybody on the map. Or on a Treeant Protector it's especially important because generally, unless there's 5-manning you, it's going to be very hard for people to kill you. Another thing I should be doing here is I saw that the Windrunner, who is playing our support this game, isn't going to upgrade the courier or anything. So if you're playing a long lane, it's totally acceptable. You're a type of support hero, so go and do that. Unless you're playing something like a lone druid or something, which is a semi-carry. And again, you can see in this situation, I'm just going to run up. I'm trying to put as much heals down onto our team as possible. And because they're diving into the tower, we have a Luna on the team. They're going to take huge damage as well. I slowed down the Skeleton King. He's gone from this one. I'm going to pop off my ulti. My ulti holds them in position. Doesn't do any damage, but it holds them in position. I use my living armor on the Luna, and because of it, we're going to get a triple kill now with them. Absolutely dominating them. They've been diving too much, and the Luna stayed alive then, despite the fact that she was on such low health because of living armor. It makes a huge difference. Now, Overgrowth, another skill that I want to talk about, is basically Bad Ravage. If you know what Ravage is, it's Tidehunter's ulti. It stuns everybody in area, does a load of damage. Overgrowth is Bad Ravage. It stuns everybody sort of. Well, let me see this. Okay, so it's a pseudo stun. Prevents them from blinking, going invisible, moving, attacking. Pretty much stops them from doing anything. They aren't actually stunned. They can still use abilities, and sadly that guy goes down there. I tried to save him, I think, but he's dead, so yeah. I've still done most of the saving in this game, and I've managed to go 5-0-2 now. So I picked up my drums at this point. This is nice because it gives me extra attributes, which is really, really important because your int gain on Treeant Protector isn't very good. That's why you go for Arcane Boots as well. And it's really, really useful just to get it. So you can see the effect there that using Leech Seed on the lane has on our pushing ability. It's really, really useful pushing skill as well. Treeant Protector falls off pretty hard towards the super late game, so it's not often utilised very, very well. You have to make things happen in this first 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes. 30 minutes is really, really on the edge there. You have to make things happen in that early stage of the game, which is why I know some people, it's a really, really old school build. They buy things like a, I'm TPing top now to defend this thing. They buy things like a Radiance, and I'm really not a fan of that. Radiance is a farming item, not really a damage item anymore. It's just simply not good enough for it. So I bought myself a Ring of Health there. This is going to make me even more survivable. This is really, really useful. We know everybody's sitting on this top line, however, we've managed to get 5 people here, and I think because I'm so strong right now, we're really, really strong in this 5-man situation. Now, I purposely ran away. As soon as I saw the ulti going off from that guy, I purposely ran away. I'm going to pop off my ulti when we get into this position, and I'm just going to beat face on whoever I can and just try and absorb as much damage as I can, keep people alive where I can. The Meepo does go down, that's to be expected. You can see as soon as that person got focused there though, I opened up on him. I'm going to throw out my Leech Seed. I've gone unstoppable at this point, 6-0-3. This is a huge game impact for Treeant Protector. It really, really is really good. I know to an extent this doesn't show you as much how to play the hero, but it definitely shows you how well a long laner can do if the support is not playing properly. The support should have, as soon as he saw that his pull camp was blocked, he should have said to the Skeleton King, solo in the lane, stay solo in the lane, don't go freaking crazy or anything, and wait for me to get some sentry wards as quickly as possible and de-ward this, because the pull camp makes such a huge difference. It's free gold and it's free XP for a support hero. It's free money basically. And as soon as I saw this Luna was going in on the middle, I thought she was going to be a lot more aggressive, and I think she should have been aggressive as soon as she saw that I could give her living armor. She should know by this point that I'm doing pretty well in this game, pretty much a dominating force in this game, and I was kind of getting really, really cocky in this game. Which you really should try and avoid doing, but you know, it happens. These things do happen. It's not surprising. People get hot-headed when they play Dota. It's just a thing that happens. It's why people play it. It's fun to get hot-headed. I don't know where I'm going with this one. Either way, we pick up a tower here. It's really, really nice. So, what am I talking about? I completely forgot what I'm talking about. Either way, next item progression. I'm going for a Pipe of Insight, I think. I'm pretty sure I'm going for a pipe. Unless there's something interesting I'm picking up now. Okay, I go for a Vanguard. Okay, Pipe is later. Now, Vanguard is simply... Basically, Vanguard is kind of an underutilized item. It's used wrong a lot of the time. Basically, Vanguard is only useful in the early portion of the game. It gives you some pretty damn good damage block, especially if you're a melee hero of 40. It's a 70% chance to proc. It also gives you 6 HP regen and 250 health. This means that in an early game situation, very, very good. Later on in the game, the damage block means very, very little. And at the moment, this is basically giving me the ability to just dive and be as crazy as possible, which I want to be. I want to be a frontline tanking hero. And just running up and beating face. And you can see that's exactly what I'm doing. As soon as the Nature's Prophet gets focused in that fight as well, I start giving him living armor. That forces them to change targets to another target. I'm then going to use my Leech Seed. This is going to heal everybody up, do some good damage, slow the guy down. We already got the first kill, and we're going to clean up this fight again. It's a really, really big mistake from them to take this fight with me around. They should be trying to avoid me like the plague, because I am fed at this point. There's no other way of putting it. I've fed on the enemy team. I've taken advantage of the fact that I was in the long lane. I was solo, and we've made massive XP and gold gains on them. Now, the reason that we made massive XP and gold gains is because they ran dual lanes. Dual lanes are less efficient than both tri-lanes and, well, only if you're good at tri-lanes, and the jungle. The tri-lanes are harder to do because you actually have to understand how to tri-lane, and if you don't know how to tri-lane, you will fuck up. But the same goes with the long lane. If I had just gone here solo on my own, with some stat items and some regen like I would as a support hero or something, I would just get killed. The reason I would get killed is because I would get killed or underleveled severely. Probably both, because I would attempt to get XP from the lane would get pulled back by the lion, I would have to go and attempt to get XP from much, much further up, and then I would get killed by the lion as he went around me, and the Skeleton King, who would have more XP than me, the lion, who would have equivalent XP to me, and much better farm than me. Combined, they would kill me, they'd shut me down, and I would be nowhere near to this situation I am now. So the warding I did at the very start of the game made a huge difference for me, because it meant that the lion simply could not pull, and simply never did pull. And it basically gave me almost free, not close to free farm, but free XP. I got very, very good XP. Now, next item I'm going for here is a mech. Again, this is simply for pushing, it's for diving under towers, and it's for making as much of an impact in the early game as you can. Towards the very, very late game, mech is almost pretty sort of rubbish. It's basically for healing the creep wave and giving it a bit more armor when you push into the base. At very, very late game, a 250 burst heal is not a huge amount. During this early stage of the game though, a 250 heal is equivalent to most of their nukes. If not all of their nukes. It's really, really effective, and the +2 armor is very useful as well. The extra stats on me are very useful. All these things, it's a very, very early game focused hero, and this is a very early game focused game for me. I'm going to send these things on the courier to me now. Now, one thing that is a slight mistake is our support or something. That would be the Windrunner should be getting a few more wards. Now, she has started placing wards now. I think I said a few minutes ago we need wards to her in the chat. But mostly this game was done just by pings and stuff from me. There wasn't a huge amount of talking. You'll find that when you get to a higher skill bracket, you'll need to talk less and less because everybody knows their role, everybody understands what they have to do. Now, I'm using my heal there just to keep me healed up. I'm also using living armor on myself, keep myself healed up, and I'm tanking for the Luna and the Windrunner whilst I wait for this Aegis to be taken by hopefully the Luna. She's definitely the one that we want to take this, and I think I said to her, Luna, you take. She has her BKB now, so she's definitely ready to carry this game, although she played in the mid role, which is very, very strange, and we tried to save that tower then, and that was definitely a mistake by me. I should have instantly glyphed and then used living armor rather than the other way around, but we're going to chase after this guy now. The Luna has stunned him here. I'm going to throw out my slow. He's going to be slowed down. You can see the Luna's able to tank a lot of damage because my slow healing her as well as living armor healing her. She's BKB'd there. And we're going to turn this fight around. This fight looked like a bad situation for us then, but the Luna used her ultimate. We've done some pretty damn good damage. We haven't actually killed anyone, focused anyone down yet, because we're kind of AoE based at this point in the game. The Luna doesn't have any proper carry items. Managed to get the kill there though. Obviously the Skeleton King's going to come back, but you know. And when the Windrunner starts getting beaten up by the Skeleton King there, and I was a little bit worried he might get critted, you know, 3 times in a row and or something, and just insta-die. I used my my first skill, which is Nature's Skies, that I didn't get to show off very much this game at all. I hardly used it. I think that might have been the only time I actually used it for anything worthwhile. But that's because I don't think it's that great a skill, to be honest. Nature's Skies is not that impressive. Leech Seed and Living Armor especially are absolutely huge. A global heal and damage block is an absolutely huge spell to have on your team. It's very, very difficult to use it properly because you do have to be watching the entire map. Now, I think next item I'm going to be going for after I finish my mech is probably going to be a Heaven's Halberd. Again, this is just to shut down anyone who's doing some significant damage in the fight. Now, can I not bring that up? Basically, Heaven's Halberd gives me plus 24 damage via its strength, as well as 25% evasion for me. It also gives me the lesser main ability, which means sometimes when I hit people it slows them down. It's very, very useful for chasing and such. It doesn't often proc, and it doesn't often make a huge difference. You won't notice it very much. The lesser aim is kind of rubbish. However, what's very, very useful is the disarm active ability. Disarm literally disarms the target for, I think it's around 2 to 4 seconds, something like that. Makes them unable to right click people. It simply says you are disarmed, and the animation for it is very, very minor. It's very, very hard to notice in a team fight, which means that using the ability on a carry it's very, very confusing because it just says you're disarmed, and it's not a very commonly picked up item. I think we're going to miss out on that kill because I was too worried about pressing Overgrowth then and wasting my ultimate. Something you should use up all the time pretty much is your ultimate. It's only on a 70-second cool. I think it's 70 or 75. It's only on a 70-second cooldown on all levels. It scales from 3 to 4.5 seconds of basically pseudo stun. They can still use abilities, but they can't blink or anything like that out. So it's very, very useful. They can blink. They can use abilities and items. That's all they can do while they're Overgrowth. So that Spirit Breaker would have been absolutely dead, unless maybe he can like ulti out of it or anything. But you can see that I'm going to initiate the fight, run in, charge up the hill because I know I'm very, very tanky at this point. I put Living Armor on myself. I Leech Seeded the closest person. I've now used the mech charge. The Meepos jumped in, done some great AoE damage. The Skeleton King's had to die and respawn now because of his ultimate. For those of you who know what Skeleton King does, I guess all of you know what Skeleton King does. But you can see they tried to focus me a little bit then, and my damage block just makes a massive, massive difference to me. This is when things are starting to get really, really crazy. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, this fight's gone on for a pretty long while. They're respawning and stuff, and we're definitely struggling in this fight. There was a little bit of lag there. I'm really sorry if that comes up on the video or anything, but definitely at this point we should have backed off. Because we didn't back off quick enough, the Luna does die there, and that's just simple overconfidence. Even on this hero you can see it already, it's getting to 25 minutes and my effect is becoming less and less. It's getting to the point where other people's nukes and right clicks will cut through Living Armor, and where the slow heal simply isn't enough to deal with the mass damage that they will do. The more people around me, the more effective it will be. But all of my items are also early game focused. I've used up all my drum charges. It's something really essential to do. When you get a drum, use your friggin' charges whenever it's useful. If you're going to get away, if you use a drum charge, if someone's going to get into a fight, if you're going to initiate, if you're in the middle of fighting, just use it all the friggin' damn time. And again, this is me being massively overconfident. I've now run out of mana, pretty much run out of mana. I don't have enough to use my mech, and I really, really need to run away. And because I didn't run away, and because I'm still in the fight, I am going to feed kills here. Now, it doesn't matter a huge amount, because at this stage of the game is over, but I did want a perfect game. And in fact, after this, I will show you a perfect game on Beastmaster, another really interesting hero played in the long lane. Because I overextended and stayed here, I did die. I did not get a perfect game, but did make... yeah, this is me flaming the enemy team because I'm a bad person. I apologise to anybody who was on the enemy team for this game. This was kind of a pub stompy game. I just did really well in my lane, and yeah, pick up your nose, as in you're big-headed. I didn't get that at the time. I worked it out afterwards though. But yeah, I was being big-headed, and you shouldn't be, because basically the reason I won is because I won my lane, and then I knew what to do with it. That's how you play Dota. It's not something amazing. It's not something you should get big-headed about either. I mean, like, it's a silly thing to get big-headed about. It was fun playing though, and it was fun annoying them, because I knew that I was definitely being very, very annoying in this game, because whenever people got focused, I could heal them up. Whenever one of them tried to run away, I could slow them down, and whenever I hit somebody with my slow, it does a huge heal for my team. And as well as that, I've gone for purposely annoying items. I got Vanguard, I got Mech, and I'm going for Heaven's Halberd because I know it's a very infuriating thing to deal with. I know that in the early portion of the game when your damage is lower, that having damage block makes a massive, massive difference. During the late portion of the game, the damage block from both my living armor and from my Vanguard will make less and less of an effect. And I didn't say, it's one mistake I did make, and this is another thing, when you do get to these higher skill levels, sometimes people forget to communicate. So I didn't communicate with the Meepo. I went for a mech. I didn't say to him beforehand, I'm going for a mech, and because of that, he also has a mech. Now the reason this is a waste is because after you use mech, a time will come up for about 30 seconds, I think. I can't remember how long it's actually for, but basically it gives +2 armor in an area, and whilst that effect is on, oh look, I used Nature's Guise for something. I'm going for a gank. Oh, by the way, something I've completely neglected to say. When you are in Nature's Guise, you can actually cast and... I don't think you can attack, but you can cast... Yeah, you can cast spells and remain invisible under Nature's Guise, which is a huge deal. It really, really is massive. And sadly, we did lose that Nature's Prophet in that fight then. Eventually, I did use Living Armor, and you can see just how long they had to take, and because the fight took longer, because I was healing up with Living Armor, and giving him some heals. I was healing him and protecting him with Living Armor, as well as healing him up with Leech Seed. Because of that, meant the rest of our team could turn up for the fight, and that meant that we were able to turn that fight around from a situation where one of our team members was being ganked and I was in the area, to a situation in one of our team members dies. However, the rest of us counter-initiate and win the fight. Pretty much 3 for 1. So it's a really, really important heal. And at this point in the game, again, being really, really cocky, this is a completely crazy maneuver by me. I was just like throwing myself at the enemy team. I thought my team were going to be behind me, backing me up, but I guess they just decided they didn't want to. The Windrunner did try to save me, but I just basically threw away my life for no reason. Everybody else was doing the sensible thing. They were trying to keep the racks, they were trying to take the racks, they were trying to win this game. The enemy team had said fast finish at this point, so we are, rushing in, trying to win the game. There's no point in a situation like this, unless someone's being a total douchebag on their team, saying you're a cheater or whatever, which you should not just try and fast finish. I mean, we won the game. It's not like it was just one person as well. This game is very, very obviously over. The tower difference, for instance, says it, and it's one thing that Treeant Protector can be used for. He can heal up towers and such. I don't think it's particularly worth it. It's just not necessary to heal up the towers. Now, if I was alive, I would be trying to save this Windrunner, but she is really, really dead. Like, there was some serious Windrunner hate there. So, the basics of how I won my lane. I took wards first. This is very, very important. Wards win games, especially at the very first minute. People think it's essential to have a courier, but they don't think it's essential to have wards. It's essential to have both at 0 minutes. You should have wards on the map, and you should have a courier. I was able to use one of my wards for vision for our friendly team to get rune control, as well as one ward to protect me by giving me the pull camp block. We had courier and such, and everybody should always have courier. If you're not playing without courier, you're playing at very, very low skill level indeed, at which point you should just bloody buy one because it's so useful. Looks like everyone's trying to take Roshan again. I have respawned. So after this I'm going to finish off my halberd, I think, after this Roshan. But the way I was able to win my lane is I blocked off the pull camp, This meant that my lane was solo in my advantage because they didn't have the advantage of a pull camp. Then I basically stayed under tower. You can see how most of the time in the lane I didn't go beyond this point because I just felt it was dangerous, and if anyone was missing from the middle, I didn't go for anywhere beyond at all my tower. I basically sat and hugged the tower. This is because I knew the lane would push. I kept the lane as close to my tower as possible, and I took advantage of a bad move, a bad call on their part when they dived me under my tower. Did my best to keep myself alive, and it's really, really important to do that on Treeant Protector, especially when people are diving you, because when people dive you and you keep yourself alive like that, it basically does extra damage to them because the tower is hitting them and they're very, very low level. So that's how I won my lane and pretty much won this game. So GG, thanks for watching. Other differences though, I would say Pipe is useful, but they mostly had right clicks on their team. The only magic damage really is the Lion, so I just thought, screw it, I won't get Pipe. In a lot of situations, Vanguard is not useful. Sol Ring is also an option, but that's basically how to play Treeant Protector. Play him safe, play him to your team's strength, and keep your team alive. So GG, thanks for watching, and goodbye.